Hey, it's Dr. Jade, Teta, and welcome to Metabolic Living's Immunity Upgrade Blueprint. In today's lecture, we're going to be talking about some foods that make us eat more of the right things more often. We call these foods buffer foods, and there are certain foods that may help us even if we think they're not really that great for us. Hey, remember, the best defense is a strong immune system, and you get a strong immune system by developing a strong, healthy metabolism. That's what provides the energy for your immune system so it can do its job fighting off bacteria and viruses. All right, let's get into the lecture. Today we're going to be talking about the idea of buffer foods. These are foods that help us eat less at our current meal, eat less at future meals, and crave healthier choices at all meals after. Now, buffer foods are really an interesting concept because when we think about foods, we like to think of them as being good or bad. But what we really want to be thinking about is, do they keep our hunger and energy and cravings in check meal to meal? When I eat breakfast, did what I eat for breakfast help me eat better or worse at lunch? When I ate lunch, did it get me through to dinner, or did I require a snack or a sweet or something like that? In other words, we tend to think meals are mutually exclusive. We don't oftentimes realize that one meal impacts what you will eat, how fast you will eat, what you crave to eat, and how much you eat at the next meal. So buffer foods are a critical concept. Now, buffer foods are foods that can be very healthy. The typical ones would be things rich in protein, fiber, and water. They can act as buffer foods, but they also can be foods that may not be as healthy. Wine and cheese, for example, may satiate just enough, and if they do and they don't cause overeating, they can potentially be beneficial. Now, the trick with buffer foods is someone's buffer food can be someone else's trigger food. And so while wine and cheese may help someone as an afternoon snack and keep them from overeating later, for someone else, that same wine and cheese may cause them to overeat later. And this is a very critical component of understanding metabolism. It's different from person to person. One person may find cheese and wine a buffer food. The next person may find cheese and wine a trigger food. Now, we all know people like this, right? We all know and have probably come across someone who can have a couple squares of chocolate mid-afternoon, maybe even some Hershey's Kisses, and as a result of having that chocolate, ends up eating better and cleaner throughout the day. In other words, that seemingly unhealthy food helped them eat better as a result of having it. And we need to make allowance for these things. Buffer foods are foods that we love, that help us eat better, that take the edge off, so to speak. Wine is a really good example. Here's how to think about this. If you have a meal of, let's say, steak and vegetables, or if you're a vegetarian or vegan, just take the steak out, maybe pasta and vegetables, and you have some wine with it. Does that wine make you want to drink more wine and then eat more pasta and then want desserts? If it does, it's a trigger food. However, if you have that wine and you end up eating less of your meal and not craving dessert and not really wanting any more wine, then it acts as a healthy buffer food. So again, we need to think past just what the health benefits we think the current food in front of us is and look to what it does to our choices after having that particular food. Chocolate is an interesting one because chocolate has certain chemicals in it like anandamide and serotonin and phenylethylamine, which is a dopamine mimicker, that can help our brain feel more satisfied. So many people do well with dark chocolates and things like that. However, chocolate is also very sweet and combines fat and sugar, which can be hedonistic for other people. So again, chocolate is a common buffer food for some people and a common trigger food for others. Some of the most common buffer foods are foods that we can get that are convenience oriented, like protein shakes and protein bars that we can use to take the edge off. One of the things in science that we have is something called a preload, where they give individuals a protein shake 30 minutes prior to their dinner, and they see that the protein shake calories offset more than enough the dinner calories. So let's say that protein shake was 200 calories, but as a result of having it, you end up eating 400 calories less at dinner. This is an example of a buffer food known as a preload in the research. Another example here is nuts and seeds. Peanut butter is a great buffer food for some and an off trigger food for other people. Sometimes it can be both. Again, if you're someone who can have 1 tablespoon and it keeps you satisfied and eating better later, it's a buffer food. If you have that tablespoon and then you go back for 3, 4, 5 more tablespoons and then want some chocolate and some wine too, then it's a trigger food. This is a critical concept to understand. So your key takeaways here are that buffer foods help us eat better, and they vary from person to person. They could even be perceived as healthy or unhealthy, but they help us eat better overall. We want to keep as many buffer foods as we possibly can in our diets. Thanks so much for watching today's episode. You can still join and access all the materials over at www.metabolicliving.com. We've got free immune strengthening workouts, meal plans, and recipes for all types: paleo, keto, vegan, vegetarian. We've got you covered no matter your nutritional lifestyle choice. If you've enjoyed this lecture, please share it with as many people as you can. And don't forget to follow us at Metabolic Living on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Remember, we're all in this together. It's about boosting the metabolism, strengthening the immune system, and flattening this curve together. Thanks for hanging out at this lecture, and we will see you at the next session.